Hello and welcome to this presentation about Germany. This is for the Europe unit of Multicultural Foods, and this is Miss Beard. Alright, some things that you may notice about Germany. It is right in the center of Europe, and you see to the left of your screen the United Kingdom, which we've already talked about. Some other countries in the southwestern corner of Europe, you'll see France, which is the last country that we studied. And some other countries around Germany include Denmark, Poland, the Czech Republic, Austria, and all of those countries have a huge influence on Germany, and we will talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. The geography and climate of Germany really impacts the food that they grow. The lowlands, which are for the most part flat sandy plains, are located in the north, and they grow mostly potatoes and other crops like wheat in that area. In the highlands, you have your grapes, which are used to make white wines, and that's just about all the crops that Germany grows. They're most known for their potatoes. And the Bavarian Alps and the Black Forest are other landmarks that are located in Germany. The Black Forest actually is called the Black Forest because the pine trees are so thick that you can't really see through it. And the picture to your right shows the Black Forest. The climate of Germany is pretty moderate. We're talking 55 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit most of the time. And so that climate really supports the plant growth that we've already talked about. And allows them to make great white wines, which they are well known for throughout the world. The culture of Germany has changed significantly in the past 100 years. In part, that's due to their participation in World War II. But even before World War II, the Roman Empire collapsed, and in Europe, that caused a lot of craziness, for lack of other word, and a lot of other empires rose and fell in the area that is now Germany. Some other people that went to Germany include the Polish, the Danish, the Swiss, the Austrian, and the French. And all of those people still live there today and have had a huge impact on the culture of Germany. Like I just said, the history of Germany is pretty well known that Germany was involved in both world wars, and their participation, for the most part, devastated the world. Adolf Hitler, which you see in the picture at the bottom of the screen, was leader of Germany during World War II, and Germany has for a long time paid the consequences of participating in World War II and World War I. And I think as a nation, we're finally starting to forgive them and to move forward as a world. More recently, in 1989, they tore down the Berlin Wall, which divided both Eastern and Western Germany. One side was a communist nation, and the other side was a democratic republic. And now the entire nation is united and is run under a democratic republic government. The agriculture, like I already talked about, most of the crops are growing in the northern lowlands. Like we talked about, the potatoes, sugar beets. Other crops include rye, oats, wheat, and barley. Grapes and fruits are grown in the west and southwest region, and more interestingly, hops are grown in Bavaria. And hops, which you see in the picture to the right-hand corner of your screen, are used to brew beer. And the beer industry in Germany is huge, which we will talk about a little bit later. The holidays in Germany are very festive, and they are very well known for their love of Christmas. But before we get to Christmas, St. Martin's Day is a harvest festival that is celebrated on November 11th, and it kind of happens right before Christmas to celebrate the harvest. Advent is in the month of November/December, and just like we start celebrating Christmas right after Thanksgiving, so do the Germans. They celebrate with cakes, cookies, and breads, and December 6th is well known as the day that children receive candy and fruit from St. Nicholas. Advent ends on Christmas Eve, which is surprisingly more popular than Christmas Day in Germany. But on Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve rather, parents will decorate Christmas trees for their families. And the Christmas tree is actually a German tradition. So if you put a Christmas tree in your home last year, you can thank the Germans for that wonderful tradition. On Christmas Day, they also exchange gifts and enjoy meals. And there are 12 days of Christmas that they celebrate, and they do something special on each day. The cuisine of Germany is very unique, and they're really well known for their roasted meats, their very filling and hearty side dishes, and their baked goods, as well as their beverage industry. And the picture that you see there is a picture of roasted pork loin. Looks like it's surrounded by some lemon rind and some potatoes. Like I said, roasted meat is very popular. Some of the main dishes of Germany include Braten, which is a roast, and it is Germany's national dish. And they make their main dishes out of several different types of meat. Pork, beef, veal, and game, just to name a few. Game includes any animals that they may hunt, like birds, deer, etc. Kasseler Rippenspeer is pork loin that is roasted and served with sauerkraut, apples, peas, white beans, mushrooms, and brown potatoes. Sauerbraten is marinated sweet and sour beef roast. And their marinades in Germany are mostly made of wine and different types of spices. It helps the meat to break down. The Hassfinger is rabbit marinated in wine, vinegar, onions, and spices, very well known throughout the nation. And schnitzel is breaded, sauteed veal cutlets. You may have tried schnitzel before. It's very popular in restaurants here in the United States. If you don't know what veal is a baby calf under the age of 9 months old, and that allows the meat to be very tender and gives it a lot of flavor. Schnitzel is a very well-known dish. And that is a picture of schnitzel. As you can see, like I said, it's sauteed, although this one looks like it was more pan-fried. Lots of fat in that dish, but it's a very tender piece of meat, which is why it is so well known. Some side dishes. The Germans are known for their very hearty side dishes. At least one of their meals a day is going to include potatoes. Sauerkraut-Fermented, and excuse my very poor German, is salted potatoes. Kartoffelpuffer is potato pancakes, and sauerkraut is fermented or pickled cabbage. Spatzle is small dumplings made of wheat flour, and you see Spatzle in the picture on the left-hand side of your screen. There's a picture of sauerkraut on the right-hand side of your screen, and both of those foods are really favorites of mine. The sauerkraut my mom made just last weekend for a baby shower, and the whole house smelled like sauerkraut. It really has a very pungent smell, very popular in Germany, as well as the Spatzle. I grew up eating Spatzle, actually called cheese noodles. The neighbor across the street from me, her name was Lori, and she was a German woman who was born in Germany and immigrated to the United States. And her Spatzle, when she dropped off a plate of Spatzle, if you didn't get some in the first 10 minutes, you probably weren't going to get any because it was so good. The potato pancakes we are going to make in class this week. They're very similar to hash browns, with the exception that they form into a pancake a little better because they have some egg and some flour in them. And they're very good. I think you'll really enjoy them. As far as baked goods go, bread is served at almost every meal. And their breads are very dark and very dense. The rye bread, and you see pumpernickel here on your screen, is made from a flour that's not really processed. And so it is very high in fiber, and is known to really stabilize your blood sugar. If you eat these types of breads, they're better for you even than wheat bread is. So if you've never tried pumpernickel, I really suggest that you try it next time that you go to Panera or your local bakery, or you can even make it yourself. The Germans also are known to love sweets, and their sweet baked goods are a little bit less sweet than ours, but still are very delicious. Apfelkuchen is apple cake, and Lebkuchen is a honey spice cake used to celebrate different special occasions, including weddings. I assume that yesterday on St. Valentine's Day, they gave these to their sweethearts as a gift. And you see a picture of these in the right-hand corner of the screen. They look pretty good. They kind of look like, I would think of something like this we would do in the United States as a Christmas cake. The Black Forest cherry cake, which you see right here, is made of several layers of chocolate cake and then topped with whipped cream and cherries. And those crumbles are not Oreos. They are actually part of the cake. You chop off the a layer of the top of the cake to give the sides a crumb topping. The strudel is a paper-thin pastry filled with fruits. And here's a picture of strudel. When Laura used to bring strudel to our house, again, it's one of those foods that it goes really fast. And you can fill strudel with almost anything. This one looks like it's filled with apples and some walnuts. I remember a peach strudel before. And strudel has a lot of different meanings. You'll notice that it's used in cooking quite a bit. This strudel refers to a pastry itself, and you can see it's very flaky. The beverage industry in Germany is known throughout the world. Not only are Germans famous for their love of making beer, but also for their love of drinking beer. And the drinking age is much lower than it is here in the United States. Some of the best white wines are made in Germany as well. And the picture that you see is of a beer festival. I believe it's a spring festival, taking from the pictures of the flowers. But another one that you may know of is Oktoberfest, and that is celebrated in the fall. Germans are well known for their love of food, and so they eat 5 times a day, which sounds like a lot, but if you take a look at what they're eating, you'll see that it's probably not much more food than we eat here in the United States. Their breakfast is a hearty meal consisting of eggs with dark breads, butter and jam top their breads, and of course coffee with milk. The second breakfast is sandwiches made with meat and cheese. And it's not uncommon for them to just leave work and go to a beer hall for a beer. And we think about that in the United States, and it's just kind of absurd to us that people would leave work to go drink. But it's more of a social thing in Germany. And from my understanding, at least, it's just kind of part of their culture. The main meal of the day they do leave work for, typically, if they are able, and it consists of soup, dumplings, dessert, a very large meal. Cafe is a sociable snack, and their supper is probably the lightest meal they eat. And if you think about the metabolism of the German people, although they're eating a lot of foods that we would maybe say are quote-unquote bad for you, the way that they're eating matters too. They are eating most of their meals at the beginning of the day, which allows them to burn off the calories that they are consuming, which explains their lower rates of obesity in comparison to the United States and other Western nations. And that is thus end. This is the end of the German PowerPoint for multicultural foods. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait till you tune in next time.